Welcome to Yep Yeah Yes with Marissa and Tamika. On today's show, we're going to be discussing misdirected anger, which actually fits into this topic because just 2 seconds ago, this is the second taping of the same show because Marissa got upset about something I did, but we won't go into that.
Introduction.
Introduction what?
No, it's not like we recorded a whole show. Where we're
Oh yeah, the introduction.
It was an introduction.
So this is part 2. I don't know why I had to mention that, but anyway, I did. So Marissa, how are you?
I think somebody else has misplaced anger. I'm great. How are you? How's your cough?
It's good.
Cough.
Thanks.
Cough.
It's there. It's fine. It's good. So anyway, misdirected anger. I bring this up for a number of reasons. It's been on my mind because yesterday, a coworker of mine basically said that that everybody thinks that I don't handle stress well.
What?
And I blow up when I get stressed. So, do I have misdirected anger?
No, I think you don't have tolerance
For bullshit.
that shit that you've been telling people, like, this is part of your job. This is A, B, C, and D. First warning, second warning. Listen, I don't want to have to go down this route. The 20th time you're like, excuse me, I don't understand what's happening. And all of a sudden, like, whoa, calm down.
Well, I think what she was referring to is more so, 'cause she wasn't one of my reps. She works in the office, and she's, me and her had a conversation. And you ever talk to someone and you just keep talking?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, all right, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me go.
Yeah.
And she kept talking, and so I yelled at her. And it's like, goodbye. Hung up on her. It was just to the point, like, I was working. I was in the middle of doing something. Then she sends me an email. She's like, I have 100 things I'm doing. I'm like, we all got
100 things that we're doing.
But, if I'm not in front of my computer and I'm not able to get you the information that you need in that moment, and I give you a shortcut, do me a solid and you're in the office.
Yeah.
So, take a second. It takes 2 minutes. Log onto my schedule of my reps, and you can find what you need there. If I gave you the directions, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I was a little put off, and I've been asking. I asked my mom. I asked another friend of mine yesterday, and they both said that I did not have anger issues. Although my other friend, and you know who you are because you're listening, I guess at dinner I got a little hype.
Ooh.
I was tired though, yo. I was tired, B.
Okay.
And so I got a little hype. Not with her, just in recounting a situation.
Uh-huh.
And she gave me the look like, maybe you do.
Oh, maybe we need to explore this.
Yeah. So I do know, like, there's only been a handful of times where I've really blown up to the point where I'm foaming at the mouth. We had this discussion last year about what gets you that angry. But my question goes back to today's topic, misdirected anger. Am I, or do we, or have you ever been in a situation where somebody caught it and it wasn't supposed to be directed towards them?
All the time.
Speak on it.
You know what? Like, I'll say my mother and my brother. I would always be upset with how my mom handled growing pains with me and my brother, because siblings argue. And then when I finally caught my brother, I would just give it all to him. Or when my mom was inebriated and she claimed she wouldn't remember, I would give it all to her at that moment.
I've been in the presence of you when I knew. I always knew, I should say, when your mom wasn't going to really, not that she wasn't going to recollect the conversation, but she was feeling pretty good. She just, just say what like, let it all out. I don't care.
Yeah.
When she was in that zone, she might have had a couple of champagne glasses, whatever.
Yeah.
Glasses
bottles,
of champagne, whatever.
Bottles, whatever.
When, to each his own. But I knew because all of a sudden you got your big girl pants on and you was all big and loud, and I'm like, oh, here she go. And then you see y'all together. You're like, hey, Mom. Like,
hi.
Everything's all perfect and roses.
Yeah, I got it out. I need to get it out.
But if you can't get it out with your mother, who can you?
Yeah, but also sometimes, like, see, my mom is very sharp-tongued. So sometimes she would put me in a place that I felt like I didn't belong or deserve. And then I would take it out on somebody else, anybody else.
So how would you take it out? How would that anger manifest itself?
It would be something silly as like, we go to a restaurant and I'm like, bah! And now I can't eat there. You know, like I don't send my food back.
Oh, because of you mean you directed it towards the wait staff.
Yeah, wait staff. Which, honestly, I have to say, I can't remember when I've done that.
I don't think you've ever done that. I've never seen it, but
I don't think, I need to take that one back.
Only thing I've ever seen you do where I'm like, now I can't go back with this bitch, because they might not remember you by yourself, but they'll remember me and you together.
Where?
A lot of people...
Where is this?
No, I'm not saying a specific restaurant. I'm just saying there's been times where you start picking at your food and you're doing it in front of them, or you're taking forever to order and they're looking at you like, you've been sitting here for an hour. Figure it out. Or you're just like, I don't want this, and they take it back, but you're not ordering anything else. But I'm like enjoying my food, and so I'm sitting there awkward. I'm like, yeah, we're not coming back here.
Oh my gosh.
You know this has happened.
Listen, you are okay. Hold up a second. So,
now you're gonna be don't put your anger on your salad out on me.
I'm not putting my anger out on you.
They put too many lettuce, tomato, and cucumbers up in the salad.
First of all, that's delicious, and I would never send that back. No,
unless it had hair in it.
For some reason, when we go together, I'm indecisive. I know this, and I know it's infuriating because when I see it in other people, it infuriates me. And sometimes I take too long to answer, and yes, it infuriates me when other people do it. I get that. But for some reason, when we're together, you make me very nervous because you got the look like this fucking bitch. I told you to look at the menu before we came.
What do I do now? Now what do I do? We sit down and you want to start talking. Like, no.
You're like, no.
Figure out what you want. First, figure out what are you drinking.
Figure out what you're eating, then talk to me. And then
I refuse to have a conversation with you.
You're like, you know what you want? You're like, no, I don't know. No, then don't talk to me.
But sometimes you gotta fit in where you gotta fit in. Would you rather me do that or just keep staring at you like you don't know what you want yet?
Hurry up, I'm feeling.
But you be knowing what you want when they come, right?
Now I do, yeah.
Because
we got a protocol. Yes.
I taught you well. So I learned to misdirect my anger.
No, because I understand it's frustrating. It's frustrating because sometimes
I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about the restaurant. I don't want to be like, you know what I'm saying? I'm always thinking about how other people experience, and it shouldn't always be that way. I should only think about the person I'm with.
But when it comes to food, you and I have a particular set of skills, so to speak.
Really? You
and I have a very particular set of way we can do things. We need to dine a certain way, otherwise, no, we already know that person's cut off. We're not dining together in these types of establishments. We travel a certain way, and once people like, oh no, we ain't traveling no more together. Great, good to know. So there's like a certain thing that you cannot stand. Like I know I pick at my food and you hate it.
I hate it.
I know, but listen, I'm trying my best here, and I know like talking slow. Not talking slow, but answering slow. It takes me. I have like this long pause sometimes, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm indecisive. But I know it's infuriating.
You get a lot of my misdirected anger.
You think?
Because there's some shit I want to say out in society that I can't for a number of reasons. But when I come back to the reality that is my life, and you were standing there in front of me, you're gonna get it. Because I know you ain't going nowhere. You can't quit me.
You can't quit me.
So I could just be like, you know what? I don't think I've ever been super disrespectful to you though, to the point where I'm like, you're fucking. That people really. I don't berate you like that. Really. We call you a F and B, and you know what I'm saying.
But you don't do that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about like that, like on that level.
But you're all.
I'm gonna say what I gotta say though.
Yeah, I know. But
But I don't disrespect you.
No.
Like, there are people that call you out your name. Not you specifically.
But yeah.
It's
not disrespectful.
You're not going to get that from me. I will just, I'll just ignore you. I'm not going to call you all kinds of names. I'm not going to say anything about your appearance or, go below the belt.
There's people that do that. Yeah, there's people that do that.
Go below the belt and talk about your what kind of mother you are. There's certain things that people do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do that, because I just don't. I value you as a person more than that.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I know there are things that I have no problem saying. And a lot of times it's misdirected anger because I don't know how to express myself in the way that I need to express it. And so it comes out.
It's very hard sometimes when you're angry.
Yeah.
When you're angry, there's so many things, there's so many chemicals that are happening in your brain that it's very hard to formulate a proper response or articulate the feelings that are happening. It's difficult.
What situation have you had where you can think of whether it happened with a family or a friend or something like that, where they caught it and they didn't deserve it? Like they just said,
and they didn't deserve it?
Yeah, it's like, they might have been like, do you have any cookies? No, I don't have no fucking,
I'll say my kids, because sometimes like
I saw that happen last week, but I feel like I was a pretty good guy. I tried to diffuse the situation, made it funny.
Speak on it.
Because you had like a bad day, or work, life, whatever. We all do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of your sons was getting on your nerves.
Yeah.
And he was asking you. He asked you for something, and you were just bothered by it. All he did was ask you, can he have something?
Yeah.
Like he does every daggone week.
Ugh, yeah.
But that day, in that moment, you was just like not feeling. You was giving him the stare down, and then to make it worse, like this is the thing that kids do. We've been there. Me and you have both been there, where you take the hard route instead of the easy route.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pouring himself potato chips.
Oh. Yeah.
And he starts to pour it on a table that's taller than him, rather than a table that's.
And I was like, I'm gonna break your face.
Right. And so then I started making a little joke out of it, and he thought it was funny. And he's like tiptoeing, trying to be funny. You know what I mean? So, but he didn't deserve that. It's like the same thing that he does every week. It's not brand new son.
Yeah, for some reason, like kids are emotional heighteners. So if you're in a bad situation, like if you're feeling bothered, the moment that they speak, for some reason you're like infuriated. But when you're happy, the moment they speak, you're elated.
Right.
It was just he caught me on a day that I wasn't elated.
Anything comes to your mind? I mean, I brought up a memory that involves you, but is there anything that you can think of where it was misdirected?
You know what? The only so I was working at Sam Goody at the time,
mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to think. It was do you remember that old ass song, Christmas Shoes?
I hate that song.
I hate
all those Christmas songs.
Yeah. Well,
most of them.
Well, somebody played it in the store, and it just, my dad died, and I just couldn't hear it.
Oh, man.
And they were like, I was playing that for a customer. I was like, I don't care about your damn customer. I don't want to hear this fucking song. And they, like, everybody looked at me. And I like, ripped it. I broke the CD. And, like, oh, my God. So stupid. Like, ripped it out, broke the CD, put on something else. I don't know what I put on, because you just had to have music playing. And I walked away, and you see the customer, like, and the other person that was there, like, is there a manager around? They're like, she's the manager. They're like, oh my God. But it was like, I just couldn't hear that song, and I just didn't want to play it. And she just, like, I was upset. I was angry, and just whatever. And she got it. Her and the fucking CD got it.
That stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately, especially when you work in retail, it's like the customer's gonna get it.
Yeah.
It happened to me today, actually. Now that I think about it, but sometimes just a side note, when we're doing this discussion, I don't even know if anger is really the right word. Misguided frustration, because anger to me is like raging Angela Bassett, burn up the car.
Yeah.
Like, she was angry.
Yeah.
So sorry, my brain is like everywhere. Apologize,
right.
but anyway, so one of the situations I was going to allude to is I'm in a store, and I don't know if it was like frustration or anger,
mm-hmm.
but I asked this particular person who works in the store, can I speak to the manager? He tells me to ask one of the girls at the register to page the manager, which annoys me because they're working with customers. What the hell are you doing? So I'm waiting because I don't want to disturb him. Wait,
Yeah.
the line is like just they all have customers.
Oh my God.
And then I got sick of waiting, so I went back and was like, "Can you just get the manager?" He's like, "No, just ask the customer." I was like, "Why can't you just get on the phone and ask?" He's like, "No." I was like, "You know what? I have to say this." And I said just like this. I have to say this. People like you make me realize how great our country is because you're just so helpful. And I appreciate the help that you gave me today. You have a great day. And he looked at me like he was like, and I walked away. Because everything I said was bullshit. Because he know he didn't help me. And people like him make this country look like shit to other people.
Yeah.
He's proof that you're a piece of shit. See, now I'm getting angry now. It's like, why couldn't you get on the phone and just call the manager?
Just do that. Oh my gosh.
So finally I get there and the girl, she's like, "Oh, he's right there." He was working in the store. Like, I don't know.
Are you effing kidding me? Did you say anything to the manager?
No, I was just like, what? Just show, I just did what I had to do. By the time I saw the manager, I was like, "Hey, how are you? I'm Tamika," But it was just like.
So I had a tough day.
Today?
Not today. This was a while ago. I had a tough day at work. Like, just, like, sometimes there's situations that other people are going through and there's absolutely nothing that you could do. Right. It's not your place, number one. You don't have resources to help. There is absolutely nothing you can do, and it's such a helpless feeling.
Right.
And I feel hopeless and just a bag of garbage because there's literally...
Oh, don't feel that way.
But when you know something's terrible and you have to see that person and there's literally nothing you can do.
What do you mean?
And it's a child. A child is going through a situation that
you can't even do nothing.
You can't even do nothing. You can't even be mean to the parent because, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing you can do. So I was having work done at the house and there was this plumber. And
was this crack shown when he bent over?
No.
That's a stigma with cablemen and plumbers.
Yeah. So I called him and I was like, "Hey, so I just I was switching over to natural gas. And natural gas came, did the hookup, so I called the plumber and they're like, "Oh," I said, "Okay, what's my next step?" They're like, "You call your plumber and then have them come and then something." So I did exactly what the guy, he just told me to call you. He's like, "Well, honey, that's not," no, he goes, "Not honey." He said, "Well, sweetheart, that's not what we do." And I was like, "Hey," no. I was like, I gave him a shot. I was like, "Hey, I'm just following protocol. This is what I asked them. This is what they told me to do. So I'm calling you." They're like, and I was like, "What? No, you can't speak to nobody else, and you're gonna be speaking to me." And then I went on to this entire tirade, and I was like, "Oh, did I call you at a bad time? Is that what it is? Did I call you at a bad time?" They're like, "No." And homie, I was just like, "You know what? How about you take a time out? Why don't we hang up and you give me a call when you're ready to have a proper conversation? How about that?" And hung up. And then I was like, "Oh my God, that's it. I can't.
There's something that burns inside when you're like angry.
Yeah.
It's like you want to spit in someone's face.
Yes.
So maybe it is anger.
Maybe it is
when
anger.
You want to cause destruction, that anger.
Yeah, that's anger. Yeah.
But or when you wanna
when you
give him a stern talking to.
No, but when the stern talking to and you say some shit that ruins relationships and you're like, "Damn it, why did I say that?" That's misplaced anger.
See, and that going back
to
going back to what we were talking about earlier with our friendship, where I would never disrespect you.
Mm-hmm.
I will go as far as not ruin our friendship. Yeah. I'll get right to that line. We good though, right? Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean?
I do that to you ever?
Do you do what?
Give you misguided anger, misplaced
all the time.
Anger? Really?
I feel like I get the brunt of your quote unquote disrespect more than anybody because I can take it.
But disrespect?
It hurts.
Disrespectful?
Yes. And I'm not saying disrespectful with your words, disrespect with your actions. Like you would you would never treat me the way you treat other people, and I'm supposedly your best friend. But don't we do that with family and friends? You think about the family in your life. Like, you would treat a stranger better than you would treat some of your family members. I know I would, and not on purpose. Like, you give a level of respect to certain people that you meet in your life that you might only meet that one day.
Yeah.
Well, you think about like celebrities. You see somebody. Think about the person that, a famous person who you, if you met them, him or her today, you'd be like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. I'm a fan. But you would never say to your relative, I'm so proud of you, support you, you're awesome.
I'm such a fan of yours. I say that to my niece and nephew. I'm such a fan of yours. For some reason, I think it's so silly.
So then you're good.
No, but I think it's just silly to say, and I just, I'm obsessed with those two. So I think it's such a cute little silly thing to say, but I had an Aunt Josie who always made me feel so special when I saw her. She would just like say the silliest things, like, oh, I'm so happy to see your face, you make me happy, you're as light as a feather, I was so glad to pick you up and hug you, and I just like, when you put yourself in that, like, you always say this, when it comes to kids, like the way you receive them is the way they're gonna feel when they hear your name, so I always just remember, I always think about my Aunt Josie, who was always like, she's always so happy to see me.
Right.
Whether she was or not, who knew? But that's just how she made me feel. And then she'd like gush over me. Oh, you're so beautiful.
But ask yourself this: was she this way with her siblings?
I think so. I don't know.
I don't think so. I remember her being that way with you, so much so that she wanted like tongue you.
Yeah, yeah. She kisses on the mouth, and that's gross.
But,
I don't do that.
Like, I think it's different when you have a niece or a nephew.
Yeah.
Like the things you tell your niece and nephew, you don't say it to your children.
But I wonder if she was like that with my cousins.
But regardless of the fact, I'm talking about the people she grew up with.
Right, her siblings.
In her house.
Yeah.
Her parents,
her sisters,
her siblings.
Her brother. Probably not. Yeah, you're right. Like, hi.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things.
Yeah.
Your niece and nephew, you don't see them that much. You're like, oh my God, you're perfect.
I know you're.
But do you say that to your kids every day?
No, not every day.
But I'm sure they think I'm sure they're loved, but there's a certain way that people interact with people that they don't see every day, or friends, or just whatever.
Yeah.
Like I just think that our family, our close family, they get that misdirected anger. They get that misdirected energy. There was a interview that I saw with James Baldwin. And I think it was, I'm trying to think who it was. James Baldwin. Oh, I cannot remember. But she I don't know. Can you look it up real quick? I want to say Nikki Giovanni, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, she was saying to him, she's like, as your wife, as your woman, she's like, I want you to fake it with them, and you fake it with me, and when you fake it with me and you go home and when you're in the real world with them, you be real. When you come home, I want to get that good person that you are to everybody else. Oh. And you be that way with me. You fake it with me. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? Which I was like, yeah, we treat like the people at home like shit. Yeah. You go out in society, and you're like, hey, how are you? Good to see you. You look nice today. You come home, you're like, I can't, whatever.
Listen, I had a rough day.
Right.
Don't talk to me right now.
You use that energy out there.
Yeah.
When you come home.
Yeah.
And that's what she was saying. You fake it with me. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
Use that misplaced anger somewhere else.
I love when you do that to me. You're like, you see all this energy? Why don't you take this energy and give it where it belongs? I'm like, oh, okay.
But it's true, though.
No, but I love when you do that, because it's like, it's not silly, but it's like a funny thing that you say, and I like the way you do it. Like, I love the way, the whole, like, articulation, the way you point at me, because it's like, oh, yeah.
Like, all of this things that you're doing right now, you go take it over there.
Like, okay.
I don't have time today. And when I think about like our friendship and stuff, it's like, I don't see you every day. Like, we used to hang out every day, be all like freaking frack, always together. So it's just a new dynamic of our friendship. With that being said, when I see you, I only want good energy. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't see you that much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there should not be like anger or animosity ever
Yeah.
when we see each other these days. We see each other once a week, which is a lot still. A lot of people don't see their best friend
Yeah.
that much, when, one of them has gone off and abandoned the other, So I was just saying, you're going to go, start a whole new family and just leave me to the side of the LIE, whimpering like a wounded cat.
Oh no, I'm gonna go on a tangent. Never mind.
What?
No, I caught myself going on a tangent. Never mind.
But yeah, but I say all that to say, it's the people, the anger, the misdirected frustration, anger, whatever it is, you shouldn't give it to people. It should only be directed towards the person it's supposed to be directed in that moment.
I remember, so I have an aunt who's notorious for doing misplaced anger, right? And I was in the car with her one day. This is a long time ago. I was probably like 14, 15. She's driving, and this car like screeched, stopped, but it stopped so close to her car that it left like rubber, like it's this black line. And she's like, get out of the car, look at the car. She like pulls over, and I was like looking at the car. These two grown people get out of the car and they go to talk to her. She's like, you hit me, and she starts yelling. And the one guy goes, thankfully he had, his energy was just like, okay. He puts his hands up, he goes, yeah, I know, I didn't say that. I'm coming over to talk to you about it. And he goes, by the looks of this, it doesn't look like much. Thank God no one was hurt. She was in the passenger seat, and it was on her side, and by the looks of the car's actually fine. You have a black line, but I'm wondering if that's just paint. And like he licked his thumb, and it brushed off, and I was like, oh yeah, it's coming right off. And she was like, she said something else, and I rubbed it too, and I was like, it really is coming off, like there's nothing here. And she's like, get in the car. And I was like, thank you. And he was like, he put his hands up like, yeah, no, thank you. Like, this is all. So we get in the car and we leave. But she had gotten into an argument with her husband before we had gotten in the car.
Right.
Which is, probably not the best way to drive, especially when you're a hothead. But it was just like, thankfully this dude had like that kind of energy.
You don't want the guy that gets out and shoots you.
Yeah, because if he was staticky too, that would have been a whole, that would have been a kerfuffle.
No good.
Yeah, that would not have been good at all.
No good. The thing about when you misplace your anger, there's something about the fact that you know who to misplace it with.
Oh.
Think about that.
Complete strangers that you're not going to see
like
again.
Knowing
or
who, I assume I know who the person you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If the person looked a certain way,
mm-hmm.
she wasn't going to bring that energy to that person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's certain people where you're like, you know what, you got a lot of tattoos.
Back this
you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, whatever
right.
you feel is something that you can't match.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the guy that I saw in the store today, he was not much taller than me,
mm-hmm.
and he looked weak. So I felt like I could say what I could say. And what was he going to do? He worked it. Was he going to,
Yeah.
Was he going to tell on me?
Okay.
Who's he going to tell?
Somebody said that about me one day. Like, I'm going to tell your mother. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What's she going to do? Send me to my own apartment?
Right.
The hell?
Like,
live on my own, stupid ass.
So it's like one of those things. Like you also, when you're directing that anger to someone, you know the person who can get it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like you're only gonna give it to certain people. It's like, okay.
I remember I've said like my brother and I have, so he's I will consider him a friend, right? Like
mm-hmm.
he's a friend of mine, but he's my sibling. And there have been we didn't have a tumultuous relationship growing up. It was nothing like that. We're very, very close. But for whatever reasons, we didn't live together for a long time. And then especially high school, while I was on Long Island, he was in Florida. And it was like he didn't understand what I was going through. I know I didn't understand what he was going through. And it was almost like we both had an expectation for each other to be there and supportive, but we couldn't be to a degree. And I know that he was angry at me about that, but it was misplaced because he would he would let his wife disrespect me in ways that I could just not understand. Like,
mm-hmm.
I don't understand how you allow her to call me and say such disgusting things to me, but he was angry at me as well. So because she was saying it, was almost like, yeah, whatever. Well, she has the right. She has a right to say what she like. No, she doesn't.
Right.
No, she doesn't, because she's a hothead too, and this is ruining relationships. This is not making for a good situation. But he and I are the type that we don't talk about it, and we just whatever. We're gonna continue. Oh yeah, now he knows.
But see, it's funny that you say that, because I think you're similar in a lot of ways. Like, you're not gonna put anyone else in their place.
Oh, I don't put people. No, I don't. Yeah.
Like, if he was disrespecting your boo, you wouldn't tell him to stop. You just you would probably feel like you would think it was funny, like a joke. I really believe.
I don't know.
I've seen how you just step back. You're like, oh, I'm not in it. He's a big boy.
I'm non-confrontational. That's my problem.
Right, but at the same time, by being non-confrontational, you're misdirecting your energy in the wrong place.
Right.
When sometimes you have to stand up, whether you're standing up for one or the other.
Right.
If there's, I believe that if it was, excuse me, if it was being directed towards your children, of course you would stand up for it. Like, that's the only place where I think you would actually stand up and say something. Only time, I should say.
Yeah.
When it's directed towards somebody outside of whatever, directed towards them. I've seen, where they've been reprimanded and you tried to intervene. Those are my kids.
Yeah.
I birthed them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if it's directed to anybody else, like,
it's not my problem.
They can figure it out.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. I know. That's one of the things.
So you can't be mad at him for doing the same thing you do. Yeah.
I feel like I haven't put him in that situation that makes it even more hurtful. But because you are correct.
You have a different relationship.
Yeah.
It's not about whether you put him in that situation.
Yeah.
And you also have this belief with everybody in your life that you should be at a certain pedestal in everybody's life. You hold you do. You're like I've seen you. You know what you're like?
Oh my God.
Y'all got time today? You know what you're like? You're like that. You're like the person who. What kind of animal is it that protects their territory? Like you're that type of person who's like, you'd be eating your soup, and then you notice, like, I'm having a conversation with somebody. Your soup is no longer any good, so you're gonna go over there and see, what are they talking about? Oh, this is my best friend. Me and her, we've been together. We've been friends 20 years.
Okay.
That's the thing that you do. So you will what's the word where you
territorial?
Not territorial, but you kind of like you make yourself known. Like, there's an animal that does this, that appears out of nowhere. It's like, I'm running.
No idea.
You see all these baby geese or whatever, but you don't see no parents. As soon as you walk over, there comes the parents.
Are you calling me a goose?
No, a geese. But I can't think. But there's a lot of animals that do that. Humans are like animals.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but I guess territorial. I mean, I don't know what other word it can be. So you expect that in your life. So when it came to your brother, his spouse, and you, it's like, but marriages come and go. I'm your sister. You defend me. Don't let her talk to me like that.
Yeah, I do feel that way.
Meanwhile, he's
right.
not looking at it. He's like, that's my wife, mother of my kids. Like, whether they had kids or not at the time, whatever. But then, in your life, you feel the same way that he feels about your relationship. You know what I'm saying? So, when it comes to everybody else, you'll be like, well, no, this is my family. It's my, you can't come in. You know what I mean? But if they start to have any kind of dealings with anybody else, like, no, that's my kid. Like, I can only imagine how it's going to be when your children start dating.
Oh my God.
I can only imagine how it's going to be when your children start dating. Like, I'm the mother. No, you got to go through me. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I just think you kind of put yourself in a situation where you feel like you need to be priority in all of your relationships?
I have so few, and they're important.
What do you mean? You have a lot of relationships. What are you talking about?
No, like, I see. I don't agree with that. I think I have few, but very important.
What?
I think I have few relationships, but they're very important.
You have a lot of. You have cousins, aunts.
Yeah, but all of them to the point where I'm like, I deserve my place. I'm not like that with all of them. I have cousins that's like, it is what it is. We're cousins and we're friends, whatever, everything. But like no.
But at the same time, your cousin, your friend. But if you're in a situation where you're with one of your cousins and they're friends, you're gonna feel like, well, I'm your cousin. I've been here. Like, who's this chick?
Oh, you know what? That has happened to me. I do have a cousin that's like that. I'm always like, your fucking friends are fucking whack. I don't know why the fuck they like. You just let people talk to anybody like that. But now, I'm
talking about where you feel like your status should usurp.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I know.
Like, no. Okay, I get it. I've
seen this firsthand in our friendship over the years.
Yeah.
You get very territorial for no reason. I mean, I went years, like, she's my best friend. I tell her everything. Whenever somebody want to tell me something, I'm going to tell Marissa. It's like I was like a robot. Now I'm like, whatever. They don't figure it out.
Listen.
Because it's like you train me in a certain way to be a certain way. Oh my God. Anyway, are we done with this topiip?
Yes. Right. I want to go to...
Yep, that's trending. So...
Speaking of relationships.
When is it time to leave?
Oh my God, homie. When is it time to leave? That's a very good question. I wish my mom was here to answer it.
Well, if you wanted the answer to that, you would... like I said to you, actually, one of the podcasts I just listened to, because I do listen to our show. I'm behind a little bit, but I do listen. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about... we were talking about you and your mother.
Right.
And I said that because you said, I wish my mom was alive so she could tell me about something. You said something like that on the show. And I was like, if you want to know the answer to any questions that your mom would have answered, just answer the question, because you're just like her. You answer the same. Whatever she says, you're going to say. It might be the opposite, but it's the same shit. You just have to look within. You already know the answer. She gave you enough tools to figure it out.
Oh, jinx.
So when is it time to leave? With that being said, and move on, and
when your ethos is being compromised,
and describe that and explain that.
Well, it depends on what the dynamic relationship situation is. Like, I'm quick to leave jobs. If I feel like I'm just a painting on a wall that you walk by and don't look at, time to go. I'm no longer thought of.
It's time to go.
Time to go.
You disrespected or whatever the case may be.
Time to go.
I thought of this because today it was announced that Wendy is filed for divorce from her husband.
Right.
There's all this alleged information about her. He had, like, quote unquote, what she likes to call oops baby when she's talking about other people, and that he's domestic violence, and controlling and all that kind of stuff. And so she's been living in the sober house, for allegedly for pills and alcohol. Who knows? She said she had a cocaine problem back in the day, and everybody's been kind of like, she should have left him. And even with the stories that broke, like, you can see on social media, all these people are like applauding, like, people that don't even like she's very notoriously private.
Yeah.
And so,
but maybe that's why
she finally decided to leave him, which is like, wow. So what is your breaking point?
Mine? In a marital relationship?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely oops baby. You gotta go.
Oops baby?
You definitely, that's one of them. One of the many. You gotta go. You definitely gotta go. Put your hands on me. I gotta go. Put your hand on my kid. Anger. You gotta go. Inappropriate. We gotta go. So I think about this all the time, because If you remember, like, I want to say it was like 94. Remember in General Hospital when homeboy was sick and he was married? Oh my God, what's his name? I think it was the priest, the reverend, when he was married and he got sick and his wife was like, I don't know if I'm strong enough for this.
I don't remember that.
Oh my God, it was like 93, 94.
Okay.
A bit a while ago.
Right.
And I kept thinking to myself, like, wow, you married to some dude and they get sick and you just gonna leave?
Like, that's the breaking point?
Like, that's your breaking point? Like, where is the love, so to speak? But you know when somebody's like foolish with themselves, that they all of a sudden they get like, not that you're foolish and you get sick, but like if you married a daredevil, yeah, he's gonna have a cast, or she. But if you're like listen, you got kids, you got stuff, you can't be like skiing off of Mount Everest, jumping out of an airplane on your Saturday. Like, we can't be doing stuff like that. If you met him that way, it's something different.
Right.
But all of a sudden, homeboy feels like, or homegirl feels like, you know what? I feel like being adventurous. And all of a sudden, you're jumping out of helicopters, skiing down Mount Everest.
Well, that's what you call Will Smith. He just turned 50, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the year where he's doing his like bucket list. Jumping out of planes, climbing mountains. He's like doing it all. It's not like he did all this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he took his wife with him for some of this. Like, she was down with it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the kind of thing that's like breaks up a marriage.
No, not breaks up a marriage, but to the detriment of the health of your marriage. Meaning, and this is where I feel like, I'm not saying, yeah, jump out of an airplane, Will Smith, but, you know, John, 1IQ Public, don't. He still has income. His family will still be together.
Right.
You talk about, like, let's say you married a plumber and he decided to, like, I'm gonna bungee jump, breaks all his effing bones. Now he can't work. Now your family, like, you're gonna lose your house, you dumbass, because you felt like bungee jumping, like, stupid ass.
So how would you feel if he got hit by a car?
That's terrible, homie.
But it's like, you have to live life.
I don't know.
Like, I'm
not giving good examples, but I got something in my head. It's not coming out
my
right.
My thing is, like, sometimes people need to be adventurous, because the alternative is stagnation, where you're depressed.
Yeah.
If you jumping out of an airplane, bungee jump or whatever, means our home life is going to be a little bit less stressful, because you felt like you got some shit off your chest. Okay. You got a broken bone because of it. I'm a really roast you. Like, how does it feel?
Like,
but I'm not gonna break up with you over that.
I got a better example. Like, you and I go gambling every once in a while. We do them slots.
Yeah, we're not doing that no more.
Why?
Me and you anyway.
Why?
Because you're just a whack gambling partner.
What?
You play $20 and you're like, I'm done. You don't go to. We had this conversation many times. I can't do it with you no more. Like, you're the type of person, let's go to Atlantic City and then go to the outlets. You know that's true. We got to go to the Gap.
Shut up.
Anyway, so
like I was saying, but now you bring in your mortgage payment. Like,
oh yeah.
No, that's a detriment to your house.
Yeah.
No.
That's not. To me, that's not the same thing as bungee jumping.
Yeah, that's what. I'm sorry. It was in my head and I couldn't like get it out like properly. I couldn't like articulate myself.
It's funny that you say that, because I remember I went to the casino like a couple years ago, and there was a couple arguing.
Ooh.
Because the woman kept playing, and he was like, I don't remember if it was him or her. I really don't remember. One of them was arguing, it's like, that's our fucking rent money. Like, what are you doing?
Oh.
We're not gonna be able to pay. And I cannot remember if it was him or her that was saying it. It was a while ago, and I just sat there thinking to myself, like, mofos is like using their bill money to pay
to just
gamble.
Be here. Yeah,
that's like that's let's break up.
Yeah,
especially if it's one thing, like, this is a brand new thing, and you pointed out, it's like, you know what, we need to stop, let's get some help, whatever. That's one thing. Same thing with drugs. Okay, you know what, time to go into rehab or something, I'm gonna leave you.
Yeah,
it's another thing when none of that is like ever on the table. You just leave a mofo without even having a discussion, like, this is you have a habit, you have an issue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only time I don't think there's a discussion that should be had, there's three things: domestic violence,
Yep.
child
Abuse. All
whether
forms.
it's all forms of child abuse, and oops kids.
Oops, kids. Yeah.
Affair.
Yeah.
Like I don't even care. It's not even about the kid. You cheated on me.
Yeah. You.
Like I can't sleep with like you had an affair.
You can't even talk.
Like you went outside of our like. Why you marry me then?
Yeah.
Like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like I just can't. I'm not trying to be.
I can't reconcile that.
Whether you had a kid or not.
You gotta go.
Can you imagine the dudes that came home with a disease?
Oh my gosh.
And that's how they found out. But one of the other, everything about leaving is not always just marital. I mean,
yeah.
One of the things too that happened this week is Magic Johnson. I don't know if you saw this.
No.
He quit the Lakers as the president of the Lakers.
Oh.
He had an impromptu press conference. He didn't tell his boss.
Oh.
He was like, the reporter was like, so what is Jeannie? Jeannie owns the company, owns the Lakers. He's like, I haven't told her yet. He's like, I knew if I told her, she would convince me to stay, and I'd start crying, and that kind of thing. And I just never told her. And
wow.
So it's like he knew it was time to leave.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's consequences in that because he got roasted. People just like really.
Yeah, you can't do it that way. That was not.
It's not right.
That was a little classless.
Right.
Magic.
But it's like then there are people that's like, he's on when you're like that, when you're Magic Johnson,
mm-hmm.
there's nothing comparable. Like you're in another league. Like
mm-hmm.
you quit that job, you're not quitting and like you have nothing. You like have this huge business.
Yeah.
You're part owner of the Dodgers, for God's sakes.
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother level of.
Yeah.
So you quit, it's like you deal with the criticism and then you move on.
Like me, I quit Sam Goody, go to FYE, quit FYE.
But it's like, but you would you have ever quit without telling any? Just left? Is there any circumstance where you would quit a job and not tell your boss?
No.
There is for me.
Tell me.
There's a circumstance, but not to say that I would actually go through with it. If I won, like mega.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
You're not working?
No.
Oh no, I forgot to tell you. I stopped 2 weeks ago.
You didn't see me at the news? You didn't see me on the news? Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. If you see me on the news, understand my cell phone changed, and I don't work where I worked before. Mm-hmm. You will not find me.
And by the time that aired, I'm out of the country.
You best.
I'm gone. Like I'm just not.
Yeah.
If not the country, out of the island, off of the island, out of the state, out of the. I'm gone.
Somewhere else.
Right.
I'm somewhere else thinking.
My kids ain't in school. Well, I don't have kids, but you know what I'm saying.
I got you.
It's one of those things. But I think at the end of the day, sometimes we make the decision to leave a situation, a friendship, a relationship. I've talked about it in the past, breaking up my engagement, and I did so. Like I knew before I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew when I got engaged, that I didn't really want to be engaged.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It took a lot for me to decide to break up, but
that's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, because just like it's not only the choice to leave a relationship, especially a relationship that had none of those elements that we talked about leaving before. It was just simply
a good guy.
Not happy. Yeah.
Good job.
Everything. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
But it just. I knew I wasn't gonna be. We didn't have the same ideals.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. When you know, and you just have to make the decision that's best for you. I wonder, Wendy Williams, she's known for a long time.
Yeah, right.
She had to.
And he's so integrated in her life. That's a tough one.
Right. He's executive producer of the show, but that can change.
He
might
manager.
be. I mean, the network can fire him.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, and she probably had to put all those things in place.
Right.
Her health was declining. Like, come on.
And that's probably one of the reasons why she was in the sober house, to get away from him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? This mofo had a baby, a girl. That happened to my cousin.
How hard was it for you to have babies?
Had 3 boys with her baby's father. 3 boys. He has an affair and has a daughter. She's like, I always wanted a girl.
Oh.
Can you imagine? You have 3 smelly boys.
Oh my
He
goodness.
goes out and he has a baby girl.
And that little girl's going to pay for the sins of the father, unfortunately.
Well, he left her for the other woman. Regardless, whatever. It's just.
I think about, like, you ever think about the flip side of that? Has anybody left you for, like, were you somebody else's breaking point?
What do you mean?
Like, you know, like, you've left situations, you left relationships,
right,
because they weren't progressing. And that's just not just romantic, but it could be friendship. Has anybody ever left you because you just wasn't? Sometimes you're not good for somebody else.
I've lost relationships and friendship because I wasn't enough.
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe my energy wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't the friend or the girlfriend that they wanted.
Yeah.
I was only good for one thing or the other, but not the
right.
totality of the package. It sucks being broken up on. It really does.
I know.
It sucks.
Know.
But I mean, what are you gonna do? You know.
Move on. Get under another one.
Exactly.
Aye.
Anyway, good show.
Why am I sad right now?
I know, right? I'm depressed.
Wah, wah.
Anyway, where can they find us?
Yep, yeah, yes, 18. On Instagram and Twitter.
What was that phrase I'm gonna say? Rate, subscribe, review, and rate.
Subscribe, review, and rate.
Yep. And yeah, that's about it.
Homie?
Yeah.
I love you.
Mhm.
You're enough.
I believe you.
And I can't quit you, bitch.
I can't quit you either, Heifer. And if I'm getting angry at you, it's misdirected. Because you're all good. You're pure. You're pure.
You're pure. Am I on a pedestal?
You're like, in the pedestals of my life, you have one. Okay.
I'm going to take it because for you, that's a lot.
That's a lot. All right. I'll talk to you. Like we're on the phone or something.
All right. Talk to you
right.
later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bitch.